What's going on, everybody? Good to see you here for this month's special live Q&A, AMA. It's the same thing. Ask me anything, questions and answers, all the same thing. I get some questions about that, so I wanted to make sure we address that. But good to see everybody here. We're going to give a couple minutes for everyone to file in. I would love to start out with hearing where you are in the world. So if you'd like to jump in the chat, these sessions, if it's their first time, first off, welcome in. We always have a good time, super casual. No big thing here. We're going to have a good time. I'm going to answer any questions you have about web design. Got a starter topic here that we'll get into, but I would love to know where you are in the world. So jump in the chat and let us know. We should see your name unless you're anonymous. So if you are, please put your name in there and let us know where you're joining from. Derek's in the house. It's good to see you. Thank you, Derek, by the way, for letting me know that the time was wrong originally. I don't know what happened there. The way I schedule these lives are I schedule them through Ecamm, which is the software I'm running, so I can do special things on the screen like this that we'll talk about shortly. I don't know what happened, so thank you, Derek, for letting me know about that. Mark's in the house. Good to see you, Mark. Good to see you, man. I know your little guy. Is it in surgery right now or soon to be? I think he's probably still in surgery, Mark, so I hope all is going well over there for little man, little warrior. Yeah. Oh, that's all I'll share. I don't know how much you want to share publicly, but I know your little guy's in surgery. So thinking about you and the family, Mark. Good to see you. Alexia is in the house, a Web Designer Pro member. Derek says, how did Web Designer ProCon go? It hasn't gone yet, Derek. It is in 6 weeks. It is May 3rd. So great prompt though. Yes, we are having our first big in-person event for Web Designer Pro members. If you guys are interested or if you're curious about that, you need to be at least a community member level member of Web Designer Pro. We have 9 tickets left, so it's going to go fast. So if you guys are a member of Pro, jump on in and make sure you get your ticket. If not, let me know if you have any more questions, and I will be happy to talk about that. Hey, Kirk, welcome in. First time in a live session from Oklahoma. All right, welcome in. Good to have you here, Kirk. Happy to answer any questions that you guys have here, too. Welcome in. Hey-ho from Southampton, UK. All right, welcome in. Alexia is in Northwest Arkansas. Yep. Home of Walmart. Got to throw that in there. Absolutely. Jeff is from Saskatchewan. Welcome in. The only reason I can say that, probably right or close to, is because I'm a hockey fan and I hear about a lot of players from Saskatchewan. Actually, I think Jody Shelley is from there, right, Jeff? Who is so I'm in Columbus, Ohio, Jackets fan. So Jody Shelley is our play-by-play announcer, our on-ice announcer. So awesome. Hey, Mike, it's good to see you here from Central Florida. Good to see you again, Mike. Hope all is well with you, man. Local SEO with Raul. Good to see you all. Welcome in, Raul. Awesome. Dude Perfect. I feel like I've heard the name, but I don't follow. I'm assuming it's a dude. Sounds a little full of himself, but I don't know. Let me know if I should follow him. Awesome. Great to hear, Mark. Wow, what timing. I can't wait to hear how the little guy goes. Everything's going. Yeah. Man, everyone who's been through any sort of surgery with their child knows it's just, I don't know if there's much harder in the world than letting your little kiddo go back there. So, Mark, man, I know that well. I know you do too. So thinking about you through all this. Recovery time. Alexia says, I still got to get my plane tickets. Got to get on that before WDPCon. Yes, Alexia, get those in. I don't know how the prices work for flights, if they go up or not. Closer to. Hey, Howard, good to see you here from Boston. If you just joined us, welcome in. Feel free to jump in the chat and let us know where you're joining us from, and we will get into some questions. Austin's in the house. I know where Austin is because he's just like 20 minutes from me in Columbus, Ohio. Good to see you, Austin. Cheering for the Edmonton Oilers, says Jeff. All right, I can get behind that. All right, guys, cool. Well, I am down to answer any questions you have about web design, web business, trends in 2025. I thought we might start out with just a bit of a kind of taking the pulse of where those of you who are WordPress designers feel that WordPress is. I wanted to share this simply because from my perspective, I'm seeing a bit of a land grab for other platforms. I feel like because there's so much drama going on in WordPress land, there's just a lot of whether it's ads, whether it's poaching directly. I'm personally, because I'm a quote unquote influencer in the web design space, I am getting hit up left and right by pretty much every other platform outside of WordPress. And that has ticked up dramatically this year. Now, I don't know if that's just coincidence. I don't know. I'm fairly new into like the brand partnership and sponsorship world. Although if you're curious, I do have a very, very hard rule that I will only take on some sort of sponsorship in different levels if they are a tool that I either use, it's a tool that I trust and that's recommended by close colleagues, or that Web Designer Pro members are using and I feel like it's working well for them. And so I would feel comfortable, giving them awareness, at least, in my little pocket of web design. So all that to say, I've been hit up like left and right from other platforms. And I think it's interesting. I foresee, and I do think that WordPress is in a bit of a tricky spot. Now, WordPress is still 43% of the internet. So it's not like it's going anywhere anytime soon, but I do think some things are going to happen soon in the way of keeping the community strong and empowering them and making it feel less. Let's just be honest. The recent stuff between Matt and WP Engine hurt the community way more than either of them. That's definitely what I've seen in my perspective, just from the standpoint of like a little uneasiness. I know of an agency owner who has been WordPress and Divi for years, and they're actually moving to Wix Studio. They're still supporting Divi and WordPress, but they're adding another tool to their tool stack. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Are you guys seeing that as well? Or are you, let me just ask you directly, are you using another platform outside of WordPress in your tool stack? Give me a yes if you are, or give me just WordPress if you're just using WordPress. And while you're doing that, I'm going to let Daisy Lou, my golden retriever, in because she wants to join this AMA session. So hold on one sec. All right. So if you just joined us, I just asked, are you using just WordPress, or are you exploring, or have you been using other platforms alongside WordPress? What's interesting about this too is my tune has changed over the years, because 5 years ago, exactly, if you would have told me, Josh, you're going to use a self-hosted platform for your community, I would have said, I am a WordPress guy through and through. I will only ever use WordPress for anything and everything. But then I discovered Circle, and Circle is a self-hosted platform. And a lot of you guys are members of Web Designer Pro here. You're on the receiving end of using Circle. It's freaking awesome. And as the showrunner of that community in that tool, like, it is really nice to not have to deal with some of the things that come along with WordPress in the way of plugin updates and conflicts. Now, are there times where I'm like, man, I would love to customize this or get into the source code? Yeah, but overall, that's kind of changed my tune a little bit. Now, don't worry, I'm not leaving WordPress or Divi for that matter. We can talk about Divi 5 if you want, because Divi 5 is what I'm using for webdesignerpro.com. But I'm just saying it's interesting. And I think we have embarked on the next chapter of web design where WordPress, I don't know if they're going to continue to grow in market share much more than they are. I don't know. I don't think they'll exceed 50% for sure over the next 5 years or so. Let me get in the chat here real quick. Just using WordPress, says Howard. Just WordPress, Mark. I know a lot of you guys are pro members, and if you're here, you're likely using WordPress just because most of my resources are WordPress, like Austin. Austin said Wix definitely invested in their business over the last year. Yes, because Wix Studio is very different than Wix the Builder. Wix Studio is actually like, I was like poo-poo on it at first, and then I actually looked at it and I was like, okay, actually, it's pretty dang legit. Studio is like a whole different beast. It's a whole different animal. Alexia said, the amount of Wix Studio sponsorships I've seen in the last couple months is insane. They've really targeted every designer influencer. Yeah, you're exactly right, Alexia. That's a big part to this as well. And again, I'm fine with it. Like, if you have an awesome product, get it out there. Like, you have to market. I think I think Wix probably more so than any other platform has really tried to, at least from what I've seen, they have tried to move out of the DIY Wix builder market, which we all know, a lot of us as WordPress web designers, we kind of came into WordPress, and Wix was like, that's what somebody who had no budget and just needed to spin up a quick website would use. It wasn't like a professional's tool. Some Wix builders would argue that, but Wix Studio, I mean, we've got some members in Pro using Wix Studio, and yeah, it's definitely legit. There's no doubt about that. WordPress forever, says Mike. Just WordPress. Welcome in Volp Marketing. Jeremy's a WP guy. Welcome in, Jeremy. Yeah, Mark says Wix is everywhere. Squarespace was everywhere 7 to 10 years ago. Now it's Wix. That's an interesting take, Mark. Insight. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I don't know. I don't see anything on Squarespace. So, and that may be the market. I don't think Squarespace is pushing into the like freelancer agency realm as much. Maybe freelancer, but they're definitely not geared up for agencies. I mean, I don't know any agencies that's using Squarespace directly. They may be using them for some segment of smaller sites, but yeah, it's a little less common. WordPress Elementor and Showit, says Alexia. Interested in Squarespace, though. I think if you're good with Showit, I don't see a reason to go to Squarespace over Showit. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't move past what you're doing now, Alexia. There's not really a reason. I think you could spin up Showit sites just as fast or faster than Squarespace. Derek's using Wix as a backup. Regular Wix, not Studio yet. Yeah, because Studio is so robust, it would really be. I mean, you can make it simple, but yeah. And then, yeah, SiteGround just released their own website builder. I've actually played around with that. A lot of you know I've been with SiteGround 10 years. This year is 10 years that I've been hosting with SiteGround. So, and they are, by the way, a sponsor for our upcoming Web Designer Pro event. So a big thanks. This isn't really about that, but I do want to give a quick shout out to SiteGround for being a sponsor for our Web Designer Pro event that's coming up here in 6 weeks. Also, Termageddon is a sponsor, in 17 Hats, which I've been using for invoicing and proposals and client management and profile management for almost 10 years. They are our lead sponsor, our gold sponsor for the event. So all that to say, though, yes, SiteGround did just release their own website builder. I played around with it. It's very simple, but I mean, if you needed to get something done and didn't have to worry about a different platform, then SiteGround, it actually is a pretty cool tool. I mean, it's simplistic, but that's probably all you would need as far as a quote unquote very, very simple site. Like if I were building a resume or if I were building just a one-page kind of thing that really didn't need any fancy bells and whistles, it was purely information based, I would definitely consider that because it's native to their hosting. So I think a lot of hosts are going to continue to do that. Now, SiteGround is very established, and they've been leading the way in a lot of areas for a long time. By the way, SiteGround's Optimizer plugin, holy frick, that thing is awesome. That's how I got the results that I got from webdesignerpro.com, which are very good, which are very, very good as far as speed goes, all with just Divi 5 and the Web Designer or the WP SiteGround Optimizer plugin. It's freaking awesome. Not yet, says Kirk, but anxious to look into an alternative if it means an opportunity to help sites move if they want. Yeah, they will. I mean, I know Wix Studio has some migration stuff. I think other platforms do as well. It's interesting. I'm not panicked or worried necessarily about WordPress. I wouldn't say I'm worried and like, oh my God, is this going to blow everything up? But it is a massive change in the landscape of things. Again, it's almost half the internet, so it's incredibly massive. And the one benefit that WordPress has over other platforms is the community. I mean, the online community for WordPress is just gargantuan. I don't think any other platform is going to rival the sheer magnitude of WordPress communities, groups, forums, channels like this one. I mean, WordPress is obviously a huge part of my channel, but other platforms are encroaching on the ease to get into the industry and the usability and quite frankly, just maintainability and scalability of things. Other platforms are seeing weakness and opportunity. Now, Steve is was a corporate guy. So I wonder if some of that, I mean, a lot of these other tools like Webflow, Wix Studio, they have very corporate structures, especially if they're invested in and they took corporate funding. So I do, yeah. I mean, it's probably just corporate 101. You see a leaky hole in the market, you fill that thing. I guess, I don't know. That's probably what corporate people do, right? Wix Studio, says Steve, is incredibly aggressive. They contact me weekly. I'm just using WordPress. How do they contact you, Steve? Are you on their email list or? Because you are an agency owner, but I'm wondering, how are they contacting you? Let me know if you would, Steve. Welcome in, by the way, if you just joined us. hop on into the chat. Let's have some fun. The waters are warm around here. It's a good time. If Mark had to leave WordPress, he would choose Webflow over Wix. Fair enough. Fair enough. Sam's just using WP. That's fair. Try the SiteGround builder, says Mike. Fast, easy, but ugly. It's definitely very basic, very rudimentary. But again, it could do the job for something simple. Wait, yeah, and again, let's just make sure everyone knows if you've tried or are trying Wix, the OG builder versus Wix Studio is a completely different ballgame. It's funny because Wix Studio actually it's a very similar experience to Divi 5, which is kind of the new standard layout for website builders, which is where you're going to have your panel of options to the left, the canvas in the middle, and then the module style options that are generally on the right. I do follow Kevin, Derek. I don't have time to keep up with his live streams or stuff, but it does. I mean, from what I've seen, yeah, it seems like Etch is going to be pretty game changing. So, I mean, Kevin's the real deal. He's a sharp cookie or a sharp tool. We'll go with sharp cookie. Kevin's a sharp cookie. Somebody quote it, send it to him. Never tried Divi, says Jennifer, but with Elementor for so long. And that's totally fine. Yeah, Jennifer. Yeah, you're in pro, so you probably see, I have my Divi course in there. I'm very excited for Divi 5 to officially launch here, which should be this year. I mean, technically, if anyone's curious, you can use Divi 5 now live. I've been using Divi 5 since August last year for webdesignerpro.com. So you can use it live. It's just if you have a bunch of older sites that are really big with Divi 4 and you've got a lot of tools playing together, then I would do a slower migration to 5, but technically you could use it. All that said, though, Jennifer, if you like Elementor and it's working well for you, don't change a thing. Like, I can't recommend enough. If you guys find a tool that you love and you like it, there's no right or wrong with that. Don't let anyone make you feel bad for, in your case, Jennifer. If you're really liking Elementor, you'll get plenty of flack for people saying Elementor's dated, but if it's working for you, awesome. That's my rule of thumb on that. Are there pros and cons to builders and platforms? Absolutely. But honestly, whatever gets you paid, and as long as you're loving life doing what you're doing, win-win. Webflow seems great, but pricey. Framey's the kid version. Framer seems easier and less expensive. Yeah, I've heard the same thing. I know they play nicely together too, from what I've seen. Or I think don't they have an integration somehow? Or am I thinking of something else? Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, that's what I've heard as well, Kirk. It seems like Framer is kind of the junior version of Webflow in a lot of areas. I don't know if they have similar backgrounds or teams. I'm not sure. Just starting to move from Divi to Breakdance. Any other Breakdance users in here? Interesting, Kirk. I've heard good things about Breakdance. Actually, my old designer Jonathan loves Breakdance. Again, I'm just a Divi guy and Divi 5. I don't know if you've tried Divi 5, Kirk, but I guess before you officially move, I don't know how built out your agency is, but I would definitely give Divi 5 a go before you move everything over, because Divi 5 is... I think it's going to be tough to rival Divi 5 once it is in its full maturity. It's freaking awesome. I mean, everything I'm seeing that you can do with other builders in WordPress, Divi 5 is native. It's going to be pretty much native on everything. It's going to be tough to compete with them, I think, here. The Divi rebound is what's going to happen. Doesn't Wix own your domain? Well, you could still choose your domain elsewhere, Jennifer, and then point it over to Wix. But you can register it with them. But it is self-hosted, so you would have self-hosted everything there. But you could still have domain management elsewhere and send it over to Wix. Unless there's something I'm not aware of with them having pure ownership. But I don't think there's absolute ownership of the domain name and email records themselves. Awesome, guys. Oh, that makes sense, Mark, that Squarespace actually pushed to churches. Yeah, interesting. They have cooled off there. SiteGround is the bomb. Couldn't agree more. Green Frog. I love that brand name as well. Sam said, just moved to SiteGround. Interested to see what they have to offer. Awesome, Sam. Yeah, especially as a WP user. Check out the Optimizer. The Optimizer plugin is second to none. It's freaking... I love SiteGround. Austin says, I hope SiteGround brings socks to our Web Designer Pro event here in 6 weeks. They are going to send me some swag, Austin, so I'm pretty sure socks are coming. So I'm going to see how many... I'll check with Maria, my contact over there, see if we can get some more socks. All right, guys, I'm open to answer some other questions as well here if we want to switch topics. Moving to SiteGround was a solid business choice, says Jennifer. Oh, that's awesome. They were amazing. I will relay that to the team, Jennifer. That's awesome. Very, very cool. I totally agree. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people have bailed on SiteGround just like any other host, but they're, as far as expense-wise, SiteGround's still pretty moderately priced. I mean, they're in the middle. They're not the cheapest, but you get what you pay for. You get a lot with SiteGround, and I've had very, very little issues with them in a decade. So awesome. Yeah, again, the SiteGround builder they just released, again, it's in its infancy, so it's going to be simple. It is a very simple builder, a little clunky, but it would do the job for something simple for sure. I mean, if you guys have if you end up wanting to do, let's say, for example, you're using WordPress and Divi or Elementor or Breakdance or whatever, and then you want to have let's say somebody comes in, they just do not have a budget over $1,000 or something. You're like, well, listen, we could do a templatized builder, and you could technically now use the SiteGround builder instead of going to something like Squarespace or something like that, which is dirt simple. They send you a few pictures, the content based off of that template, and you could roll that out, potentially in an hour or two if you really want to do it that way. Interesting. Yeah, that's one thing to consider too. Alexia is interested in Squarespace simply because most small business DIYers start with it and like it. There is a reason for that, Alexia. It's a good it's a good underlying reason to think about certain platforms is if you are servicing the DIY folks, then yeah, they may have interest in that, but you're going to get more DIYers and get more people who want to manage the website, which pros and cons. I think in Alexia for you'll get to the point where you really want to focus on not mature business owners, but established business owners who don't give a crap what you use. They just want the website and want you to support them. So I would keep that in mind as well before you go all in on Squarespace for DIYers. But for where you are in your journey, still a couple years in, worthwhile. Yeah, good call on that. Via email, said Steve, as far as Wix Studio reaching out. So you must have signed up for something at some point, right? Otherwise, I don't see how they would reach out. Unless somebody sold your info to them. Hey, Lilia, welcome in. Just got here. I'm just starting on WordPress. Any recommendations on where to start? Fundamentals to have, Elementor versus Divi, etc. Yes, Lilia, I do have actually a free training on how to get started just in web design in general, and it covers a lot of the tools. So I'm going to recommend you check that out. I will drop it in the chat now. It's at joshhall.co/start. If you guys don't have this, check it out. It's completely free. It's a free training. I'll put it in the chat, and I'll put it in the description as well in the video. There's also an offer there for Web Designer Pro, which we'll talk about. Let me drop this in there. Free resources. If you are looking for some help with getting started, I have it's actually a 10-step action plan. So I'd recommend checking this out, guys. For those of you who are very early on, or even if you're a little more established but curious about some things you could do to, if you're a little more early on, check it out. This is joshhall.co/start. We'll take you over here. It's a 10-step action plan. It'll help you with things like choosing the tools. So for you, Lilia, I think that'll be great. What you really need to know to get going so you don't overwhelm yourself and get into analysis paralysis. Going to give you some tips on what services to offer, some pricing strategies, how to build a portfolio, even if you don't have paid clients yet, and then some of my top tips for getting clients. So check that out. joshhall.co/start. We'll zip you over there, and I would love to give you my free action plan there. All right, guys. Speaking of, let's get some other questions, and then I'll share a little special offer I have for you guys. If you need to leave early, jump in the description of this video, this live stream. There is a special offer for everyone joining live that expires tonight. I'll just tell you right now, it's a chance to jump into Web Designer Pro for 50% off for 1 month. So you can get all my courses, or you can join the community level. The coaching level is about to move to a wait list, so it's not applicable for that, but you can join the community or get all my courses with that code right there. Just use March50, zip, and you can enjoy 50% off 1 month. So it gives you a little bit of a buffer just to try it out if you've been curious. So webdesignerpro.com. Give that a go. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'm rhyming now, so here we go. The description has the link for that as well and the details, so zip over there. But Lilia, I hope that helps. Yeah, and to give you some quick tips, I mean, how and where to start. The thing to remember is choosing your tool is a big decision. It's not the end-all decision, but it is important to feel good about your tech stack and to feel good about what you're going to build your business on. So that is one important thing to really consider. Less tools is better. One problem I see with a lot of new web designers is they're using a lot of different platforms or builders, and then every time you have a new platform in the mix, it's double the amount of stuff you got to keep up with. So I would be a little bit wary on that. And then, I mean, quite frankly, don't overwhelm yourself with SEO, even design and copy. Like, learn the basics. I mean, that's why I have my suite of courses. It literally is a roadmap for folks like you, Lilia, to jump in and learn the fundamentals. We go deep on some stuff, but you don't have to. But you'll learn design, you'll learn SEO, you'll learn some basic DNS stuff, which is what's going on behind the scenes. It really is where I'd recommend starting for you, Lilia. So yeah, I would personally, I mean, you can start with my my business plan, my little business action plan, but the courses are going to be ideal for you. So any questions, let me know, follow up with me on that. And you can also go to joshhall.co/contact, which is where you could send me a couple follow-up questions after this. Jeff, is SiteGround better than Flywheel? I'm biased, but yes, they are definitely. They just have more tools. I know a lot of people who enjoy Flywheel, but I mean, you could look at a comparison. I mean, there's just so much more that SiteGround offers. I think SiteGround is a little more expensive, but again, it's kind of you get what you pay for. I would stack up Flywheel's native hosting and their optimization options against SiteGround, and SiteGround's going to win every time with best practices. Hey, Haley, if you use Divi, if you're using Divi and building a 5-page site, how would you charge a minimum for one of their templates and tweaking for the client versus a custom design like in Figma and building with Divi? So yeah, it's the difference is a custom site that may be, say, more than 5 pages, although technically you could do a custom site that's 5 pages and it could be way more robust than a quote unquote templatized site that is, 20 pages. So it's not really about the page count as much as it is about the scope of the project and the design. I mean, for example, let's say a 5-page site, you're going to be redesigning with a Divi template that they offer, a layout, but the business is already established. They already have brand. They already have colors. They already have copy. They already have an existing site you could pull from. Then that, I mean, it depends on what your goal is revenue-wise and where you are in your journey. It also depends on if you're doing more advanced SEO and things like that. But to keep it simple, I still think about $1,000 to $1,500 range for a productized, more like day rate style service for 5 pages is very doable. And it's because I would try to frame it in that model. Like that may be a website in a day or a website in a week, purely if you're not creating a bunch of content and you're not doing strategy and you're not doing all that. It is just purely, we'll get your site up with existing content or the content that you fill in here. Like it's very constrained. But if you want to go custom, that's where we start at, $2,500, $3,500, $5K, depending on what your revenue goals are and then what you're including in those sites. And then you sell your maintenance plan and then eventually start doing some growth plans to help them grow. Boom, 6-figure business is ahead. Reminder, everybody, a 6-figure web design business is $8,300 a month. So that's your goal if you're looking for 6 figures. If you're looking to go to 2, 3, 400K plus, then your ranges should be starting at 5 to 10 for bigger projects, potentially even 20 to 30 for bigger projects, depending on how complex they are. And then a more scaled out support and maintenance plan, often more growth plans, which could do email marketing, SEO, advanced strategy, things like that. But to your point, Haley, $1,000 to $1,500 is very, very doable. And again, I would frame it in more of the website in a day versus week model. But again, you've got to constrain it, because what happens is a lot of people find out a quote unquote simple 5-page site ends up being custom very quick when the client's like, can we just add a calendar of events? And then can we just add a blog? Well, actually, suddenly a calendar with events and a blog just went from 5 pages to maybe 20 to 30. They may not be pages, but they'll be post types. And those are seen as pages on Google. So just got to be leery and wary of those simple 5-page sites. Charge accordingly for them. Jeff said, I watched your session at Shannon's Simply Profitable Designer Summit. Awesome, Jeff. You talked about support versus growth plans. If you start at $99 a month on the basic support side, how many hours do you devote per month? So generally, I've always loved having a $99 plan that covers up to an hour a month if a client needs it. Now, the key with this, and everyone who has maintenance plans at this range, even if it's 50 to 150 or 200 a month, the thing to remember is not every client uses that hour. Some do, but generally a ton don't. So anything with subscription is that way. Some people, and some clients may use it the first couple months and then they kind of back off and then you're there to support them. But as far as the other things you're doing, whether you're using Managed WP or Main WP, or there's a new tool called Glow, which I actually am really interested in for managing WordPress and non-WordPress sites because they actually have a ticketing system in the platform. More to come on that because I had their owner on the podcast who's going to be coming out soon, or chat's going to be coming out soon. Anywho, that's generally well less than an hour a month. So, and often if you're doing plugin updates and backups automated in bulk with some of these tools I just mentioned, here's your question, Jeff. Then yeah, you're devoting, if a client isn't using you, you may devote less than 15 minutes per month on that, on a single site. And again, some clients may use the time to do updates, but it's very rare that a client's going to be using that all the time. And it does not roll over, and it's not for new stuff. It's only for making quick updates to the existing site. This is where, if your hourly rate is like $125, then you could, of course, bump that up. Or you could hire a junior to do the basic updates like changing staff photos and updating hours and still really profitable. Awesome, Lilia. I'm glad that helped. Any questions? Again, follow up with me. You can go to joshhall.co/contact to follow up with me there. Alexia, Josh, if you were to start a YouTube channel from scratch today, what would you do in the first 3 months? What to focus on? It would depend on the goal of the channel. Alexia, I would have one of two pathways with a YouTube channel as a web designer. I would either go the route of like a local web designer that has YouTube videos as almost a way to take up real estate online, like on Google locally, and have more of a local SEO presence. One thing we're doing right now in Pro is we have a group challenge going on right now about creating an interview series, which is short, where you interview 6 to 9 local business owners and you feature them where? On the YouTube channel. And that gives a chance for them to share their videos, to share clips, and it can really build your videos up. And you're not going to be an influencer overnight, but it is an incredible way to get SEO rankings and to own a lot of digital real estate with a YouTube channel. And it's discoverability. So when people search their business, they may see that interview you did with them. And then who's that interview presented by? Alexia. And that's how people can find those interviews. So I would either have that route or I would have a bit of a more tool specific route. I'm not talking about the band. I'm talking about platforms. I was shocked at how many leads and actually pretty good clients I got through my YouTube channel just doing Divi tutorials, early on in 2017. Because I thought for sure when I was doing Divi tutorials, I was going to be speaking to Divi web designers. What I found is Divi was a little more in the DIY market in 2017 than I anticipated, but I had a lot of DIY clients come to me or their teams were using Divi, and then legit business owners were hiring me through that channel and I didn't have to sell a dang thing. Here's how, a lot of you have probably seen my Divi tutorials or followed them back in the day, or if you want to, you can just go to the YouTube channel, just click down and I got a playlist for all my Divi videos. People find those and you become an expert overnight when you're just sharing what you're doing, even if you're not an expert. So I would, Alexia, to your question, I would do one or two routes with that. And you don't have to be like, for you, Alexia, I know you're using Elementor. You could probably make a dent in the Squarespace world easier than Elementor, but share tips, videos, how-tos using those tools. And it's amazing what kind of lead and traction those get. The other option is you could do it more about a thing. Like our friend Sam in Web Designer Pro, he has the local SEO Academy. His YouTube channel is geared around local SEO. I think I shared this on the last stream too, for those who didn't see that. Let me pull this up real quick. So Sam has a YouTube channel. I'll post this in the chat if you want to check this out. And his YouTube channel is actually, it's kind of interesting because it's a bit of the hybrid between the strategies I just mentioned. It is, in a way, very targeted towards local SEO because you can see in his title on his YouTube channel is Then Can Designs, his business name, Bend, which is Oregon, web design plus SEO. So there's a very local flair to it, but he's kind of become an expert in SEO, even teaching other web designers local SEO. Sam is actually, if you're curious, I only go so far into SEO because it's not like the area of expertise for me. I mean, you guys know SEO is its own thing. It's its own ball game. I teach the fundamentals. I teach some pricing around it, and I teach some things you can do and what I've learned. But I mean, he really goes further, particularly in local SEO. And his channel reflects both of those areas. It is local in some ways, but it's also a topical, like it's all about SEO and primarily local SEO. So good example here to check that out if you're curious. Now, he doesn't have a massive following, but Sam will tell you, and he's been a member of Web Designer Pro for several years now, and I've watched him, I've seen his progression from one step at a time. And oh my goodness, has this YouTube channel been instrumental in helping him. So absolutely huge. Absolutely, absolutely huge. So yeah, try that out. Alexia, I would recommend either, just to put a cap on your question, which is a great question, I would either do a local SEO approach that's more local, like web designer near me, or potentially do it more tool-based. Like these are the tools I use. You could do both. You could have a whole playlist for local SEO. You could have a playlist for the interview series that you'll eventually do. I know you're talking about that. And then you could have you could do a playlist for Elementor tutorials. You could just be Alexia, the web designer, based in, Northwest Arkansas, and then home of Walmart, of course, and then go that route. Local SEO with Raul. Let's see here. I'm trying the March 50 code, but on payment page, but it says it's charging normal cost. Let me double check that live real quick here for you, Raul. Let me make sure that's working for you. All right. Give me a sec, guys. Let me just check that. I did just launch that before we kicked off the live stream. I'm going to check it on my end. We'll do this live to make sure it's working for you. March 50. Apply. Working fine for me. Are you on, I wonder if maybe you're on the coaching tier. So just make sure you choose the community tier, Raul. I'll put it in the chat. This is the community tier if that's the one you're looking to get access to. Yeah, I just tried it and it worked fine for me. So yeah, try that out. If you're having any issues though, with ongoing here, once our stream ends, just email me, go to joshhall.co/contact, and I will get you sorted ASAP as possible. But it did work for me, so awesome. And then yes, the Fear Inside says, I subscribed to courses 2 weeks ago. Welcome in, by the way. If I upgrade to community, will I lose the 2 remaining weeks of course subscription? Well, you'll still have access to the courses because the community covers both. But I would be happy to credit. I tell you what, message me, because what we could do is if you want to continue the 2 weeks of courses, you could upgrade and I could make sure that you get 1 month at 50% off in the community level. Or actually what it will do, the system will prorate you. So if you upgrade with March 50 as again, this code right here, if you upgrade with March 50 and you jump into the community tier, the courses tier, you'll just be prorated. So yeah, you won't pay like full price for one tier and then not get it back. So you'll be covered. Yeah. Any questions, let me know. I can follow up with you separately on that. But yeah, guys, for everyone listening live and for the end of the day, if anyone catches the replay, I'm giving you guys 50% off for 1 month, either the courses or the community tier. The community in Web Designer Pro, you'll get access to the entire community, all of our forums, and all the courses as well. So if you've been on the fence or curious about Pro, you can try it out. Give it a month go, and let's hope you continue on. Lily, my niche consists of conscious service providers, yoga teachers who require email automation and sales pages. What WordPress plugins do you recommend? It depends on if they're doing bookings and things like that. Bookly is one of the best. I think it's the top rated, excuse me. It is the top rated booking plugin for WordPress. As far as his email automation and sales pages, you could do the sales pages on the tools that you choose. So if you're using Divi and WordPress, there's a ton of sales page options with Divi templates, or you could customize your own. Email is going to be outside of WordPress. At least I would not trust WordPress. There are some SMTP plugins and things you can do, but that's generally going to be something. I would use Kit, formerly ConvertKit, for email. I'm still using MailChimp, but if I were starting today, I would use Kit. It's just a lot easier to get started with. So I would do WordPress, Divi for sales pages and the websites and for growing with you. I would do Kit for email automation, and then I would use Bookly for booking appointments if you're going to go natively in WordPress for things like booking. So let me know if that helps. Awesome. 50% worked for Fear Inside. Cool. Yeah. Any questions? joshhall.co/contact and we'll get you sorted. But yeah, you can upgrade a community with that coupon and then you'll be prorated. I think the way it works with that is you would get a credit back for your previous subscription. But any issues there, we'll take care of you. I have an awesome tech VA, Chris, for Web Designer Pro, who always helps me out with some of the technical stuff. All right, guys, let's dive into some more questions. Any more questions? Good one so far, guys. Any more questions to do with YouTube or anything? I think I've covered all the questions so far, so let's do the next round. What is your next challenge, your next pain point, or insight you'd like to dive into here today? Alexia said, Sam's presentation in the Profitable Designer Summit was gold. Yes. Yeah, Sam's on it. Yeah, when did he join Pro? 21? 22. And he's just killing it. A really good example of, as we just looked at, particularly utilizing YouTube. I mean, YouTube has been an absolute gold mine for him. So I can't recommend enough, guys. Consider it. You don't need to have this set up. You don't even need to do things on camera. I've said this a lot, but I'll just say it again. Look at my old videos, my Divi videos. I was never on camera. It was just a screen share. It was just, hey, here's how I did this thing in Divi. And it was huge. It literally, built me up in the YouTube ranks for Divi and got me a ton of clients. Haley, good question. Do you put clients on shared hosting or private hosting with SiteGround? Typically shared. You can do private with cloud-based solutions, but if you're on their Grow Big or Go Geek accounts, those are shared, but I mean, they're so secure. They button it down. So most clients will go on that unless it is a custom situation where they need to have their own dedicated server, but those are very expensive. So if you're going to be supporting that, your support plans are probably going to be in a several $100-month, type of support plan, because some of those VIP style dedicated servers on your end could be $50 to $100 a month just to pay the host. So yeah, you're fine with Go Big, or it'll be Grow Big. And then Go Geek is a good one for SiteGround. If you guys have not signed up for SiteGround yet, be sure to use my link, not only because I get an affiliate commission, thank you, but also you get a big discount. I think it's 50% off right now. Let me double check. You can go to joshhall.co/SiteGround. I'll put it in the chat for you. Yeah, here it is. So that link will zip you over here if you're interested in trying out SiteGround. Again, I've been hosting with them for a decade now. This fall will be a decade. So you'll get oh wow, it's over 83% off right now. This does fluctuate, so sometimes I never know what the exact deal is, but yeah, check it out. So for you, Haley, you would be fine with clients. You're going to do the Grow Big, so you would be fine with that for a while until you need to upgrade to Go Geek. By the way, side note, I am on Go Geek. joshhall.co is on the Go Geek and Web Designer Pro, both my sites and all of my template sites. They're all on GoGeek. I haven't never even upgraded from this. It's been fine. So if you're curious, I'm not even on a dedicated server right now with that. So you're all good. So let me know if that helps. Hey, I'm back. All right. LOL, more YouTube tips. I'm planning on starting a channel. Yes. Well, Alexia, we could talk for 8 hours straight about YouTube. So let me know what tips you're looking for. I would say if I were to do a training on YouTube, Pat Flynn has a beginner's course on YouTube. I mean, I would just highly recommend that. I would jump on that. Let me know, Alexia, because I can send you my link for that if you're curious. But I would go through that course just because it's going to have a lot of the nitty-gritty specifics about setting up a channel. But for anyone who feels like they need to be a YouTube expert, you don't. I literally signed up for my YouTube channel. I had no idea what I was doing. I was literally just posting videos and with a little Blue Yeti USB mic, and here we are. Derek's also using the Grow Big. Awesome. Yeah, that's generally fine for a handful of sites. Even you could get probably a couple dozen sites if they're smaller on that. Yeah. SiteGround, most hosts are always doing some sort of sale. My sale page does have an extra discount compared to the public sales, but it has fluctuated over the years. Awesome, Haley. Glad that helps. Is anyone doing YouTube? Does anyone have a YouTube channel? Even if you're not like we saw with Sam, I know I did one for In Transit that just had some client videos on there. Eric, my CEO of In Transit, has taken that over, but it's still the In Transit Studios YouTube channel. Hold on a sec. We'll look at it real quick. 150 followers, baby. Yeah, so Eric's kind of taking it over. We'll take a look here shortly. I don't know if I'll just show you real quick. Those of you who have been through my business course, you've seen this many a time probably. But here is the In Transit. So this is my agency, by the way, if you guys, for new folks. In Transit was my agency that I founded in 2009. And that I actually sold to Eric, one of my students who went through my courses and built a 6-figure business. And then when I wanted to teach full time, he took it over. And I'm a consultant for In Transit now. So this is the same channel though. The reason I'm sharing this with you is that I created what I highly recommend you guys do as well. And that is to create what I call a client resources page. Now this could be hidden. This could be premium. You could make clients pay to get access to this, but this literally had little tutorial videos that were private to just my clients, but I did use YouTube. So these are actually,
hey guys,
they're on YouTube, but they're unlisted. So you could only watch them on this page or they get shared, but you could do it publicly as well. But this is just a curated, basically like it's almost like a little mini course on how to use WordPress, how we optimize images, how to use the Divi Builder. This is a little bit dated now, but this is what I sent clients who were managing their website. This was like a gold mine for me with clients because not only were they like, holy crap, Josh, this is like, first of all, thank you. But second of all, this is legit. It helped retention. Often they'd be like, hey, I think you had a video about when my VA is uploading images, how to like optimize them. I was like, yep, here it is. Here you go. Remember, here's your client resources page. Bookmark this, always come back to it. Game changer using YouTube. Now, you could make these live and public, but again, it's just a bit of a different game if you're making public videos. Eric has moved towards more like marketing videos that he's sharing in and around that rather than tool-specific videos. But it can all work. And again, Eric is using this on a very, very low level as far as like he's not pushing YouTube much at all, but a few different ways to go about that. Great questions. Let me jump back over here real quick. All right. Jeff says, any tips for outreach to find new clients starting out? Reduced price for reviews, targeting specific businesses with something specific to help them rather than generic my service pitch. Yes, those will all work. All the above, Jeff. It kind of depends on who your ideal clients are with the strategy that I would take. If they're local, anything in person is always going to be a quicker ROI, especially on your time. It's going to be a quicker ROT, just because you'll get to meet people, your network will spread a lot faster. Whether it is a paid networking group or a referral group, I mean, that's ideal. Otherwise, you could still do things like business ribbon cuttings, business events. You could do things like, as far as in-person stuff, I mean, even like Chamber of Commerce, things that are more directory based, you get access to local events if they are local. But if they're not local, if it's more niche specific, I would look at where they're hanging out online. LinkedIn is still one of the best ways to be able to have direct access to people who are kind of decision makers. At least, they're there. Literally, LinkedIn is an online networking tool. So that's something I would consider. You could either talk to people directly there cold, or you can post content and get into different circles on LinkedIn if it is more of a niche. Now, you can, of course, connect with niches in Facebook groups. Instagram is kind of a way to curate certain vibes of people or even different categories as well. So there's kind of the two different approaches. If you're looking for local businesses, cold calling and stuff is just unnecessary these days. So I would really encourage you, Jeff, to think about moving right towards some sort of networking in person, or if online, and both, potentially with follow-ups too, connecting with them where people are hanging out, depending on what your niche is. Whether it is a Facebook group, whether it is business associations, meetups, there's all sorts of business meetups in every city, everywhere. So yeah, let me know if that helps if you're looking to get with people directly. What I would do though, as far as like an offer or something like that, I've really thought more and more about, and I've seen this work with a lot of Web Designer Pro members, a review, like a free review or a free audit. We just talked about that this week on our weekly coaching call for members of Pro and the coaching level. Really about how to frame like a free review. And a free review is like a website audit, but you could basically make it free, but it is a paid product that's free for a limited time or for a certain number of leads. And it could be literally a 5 to 10 minute Loom video of you looking at their website, giving them tips, sharing all the expertise and knowledge you have, even if it's basic, and getting them pumped up to work with you, which could then lead into like a paid discovery offer or right into a proposal. If you do that for a qualified lead and they're like, hey, Jeff, that's great. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we want to make these changes. Can you make these changes? And you could do it hourly or with a retainer or make it a big project or revamp the website. So I would think about, Jeff, with all the strategies we talked about, either in person or online, having like a no-brainer, total win-win offer instead of just saying, hey, really nice to meet you. Would you like a $10,000 website? I would have like, I'm right now doing a limited offer for a free website review. I'll look at your website. I'll give you complete marketing advice, strategy advice on this. And if you want to implement anything, we can take next steps, or you're welcome to take this and take it to your team or take it elsewhere. Take it to another web designer if you want to. Builds trust that way too. All right, guys, we got a handful of minutes left, so I'm going to try to bust through these final questions. As a starting freelancer with no testimonials or paid clients, what is a reasonable price range to start for a sales page for an event that accepts payments? I would say a one-page site. First of all, Lilia, don't even worry about being a freelancer with no testimonial or paid clients. No one needs to know about that. You could do a free site for a family member or a friend and get a testimonial, especially if they have a different name. And then there's your social proof right there. No one needs to know it was Uncle Bob's handyman service. But one sales page, again, depends on the scope of the page. If it is just simply details, sign up. One question would be like, what is the event run on? Is it WordPress with an events plugin, like Event Calendar? Or is it a different system that is already pre-built and you're just linking it? That's something to figure out. And then payments wise too, like what are the different payment aspects? Are they just using Stripe? Is it Stripe and PayPal? Are they accepting in-person checks or something? Those are the areas of scope I would figure out. And then that will help you dictate your price. You could do, honestly, I would probably for this one, do hourly retainer. as much as I don't like trading time for money, you're in the kind of the blurry space of like, you could say, 500, but then if you end up making a WordPress site for one page and using events calendar, and you're potentially integrating it with a different system, and you're setting up payments on different platforms, that may end up being like a 20-hour job, and then you're going to make less and less. So I would consider like a retainer of hours and just sell like 8 hours. I would say for this one, on the very simple end, you would need at least 4, depending on the tools, but I would try to sell like an 8-hour retainer. Let's say even if you just go with $50 as an hourly rate on the low end, I mean, that right there is 400. But then you could say, if you do 8 hours, you'll get, well, I would just say your hourly rate is 75, honestly. I mean, you could do 50 if you feel more confident with that, or if you're just brand spanking new, but yeah, it may end up being, 250 to 500, but that's going to be very low end. I have a feeling for that work. So I would guesstimate 500 to 1,000, depending on all those. And that may seem like a lot for just one page, but there's a lot going into that page. And if the event ends up making, thousands of dollars, then they may 10X that with $1,000 investment. Do you charge for hosting on your SG account if they don't pay you for a maintenance plan? Kirk, good question. Huge rule. You do not host clients that don't pay you. That's it. They have to host with you or have hosting to be on your maintenance plan. Good quality hosting if they're not with you. So that's the key. They do not get, sorry, I missed that. So they've got to be on your hosting. And if you're trying to charge for maintenance plans with clients that are on different hosting, if it's really bad, I will say just buy them out. It's worth it to pay $100 or to credit them $100 on a new service, which could be an upsell, by the way. Say, hey, we'll host you with your maintenance plan. We'll host you for up to a year with a certain amount, or ongoing. But yeah, get them off the hosting. Make sure you're not hosting anyone that's not on your maintenance plan for sure. I hope I understood that right, but that's the biggie. Alexia, for YouTube, okay to start with just quality webcam? Yep, absolutely. Your webcam is fine, Alexia. You were on the Web Design Business podcast, Alexia, a while back for a little case study episode, so you looked awesome. Yeah, and a lot of times too, so with some of these softwares, well, first off, if you just use Loom, you could do like the little circle in the corner and they don't even see your background. They just see your face. With most softwares now too, they're really good with background cutouts. So you could, if you do any editing, you could probably do a background cutout and just, be on the screen. So absolutely. A webcam would be fine though, for sure. Looking for final questions. All right, guys, couple minutes left. Final questions. Awesome, Jeff. Glad to hear that helped. Lilia says, aha. Oh, I love aha moments. Sales page for yoga course. Yes, on WP and one-time payment. Yeah, so it does depend on the tool you're going to use. So I would shoot for, so it's for a course. Got it. Yeah, it depends on what the course is run through with the payment selection. So yeah, I would honestly, because anytime there's just like, I don't know the scope very well, I like retainers because you can say, okay, client, we've got an 8-hour retainer. You can buy 8 hours. With this, the plan will be to get as much done as we can. I think we'll be able to do it. But if we get the setup, but there's a lot of feedback and revisions and the project grows legs, then that's where you'll have a little bit of room to be able to say, listen, we have to add more hours on this. All right, guys. Derek has the final question of the day, unless you guys have any final ones you want to zip in. But just a reminder, today only, for everyone watching live and everyone catching the replay, you can get 50% off 1 month of Web Designer Pro, the courses or community level. So just use this code you see here. It's in the description as well. That will give you 50% off. You can get access to all my courses, my entire suite of courses. So Lilia and others who are just needing kind of a roadmap to go through, you can pick and choose. It's completely on-demand, 24/7 access. So if you're like, I want to zip through the design course and SEO course, because those are pretty quick. But if you're like, I want to know what Josh has to say about some of the business stuff, you could just zip in there, check it out. That's your code. It's below for you as well. Or if you want to jump into the community and get access to all the courses and join the community and see what's going on, join our interview series challenge, check out, look, by the way, let me just share this with you guys before we head out here. One benefit of the community, of many, as many Webdesigner Pro members here will tell you, is our wins and successes thread. If you guys want to see what is working today in web design and seeing what's working, this is it. You can literally see how folks are getting leads, how people are doing webinars. You can see what is working for people, how folks are getting actual jobs. Like Megan, her weird flex was, we were talking about SiteGround earlier. Megan had to actually upgrade her SiteGround account because she's getting so many clients right now. So there's some awesome stuff in here, guys. I mean, this is literally like, I got to talk about this publicly more. This is what's working today. If you want to know how to get clients and to see some wins and successes, to not only get inspiration, but like to apply it and to see what's working so you can get more clients and charge more. All right, everybody. Last couple questions here before Derek's question. Enjoyed the podcast episode with Cami. Awesome, Howard. I'm interested in offering low price maintenance plans using Managed WP. Do you have advice on how to scope that? Yeah, so I do have my maintenance plan course that covers that in detail using Managed WP. That covers everything. I mean, Howard, what I would do, I'll share this with you guys. Here. Just rip this off. It's in the chat. This is something I only offer in the maintenance plan course, but I'll share it with you real quick. So it's in the chat. Howard, just take this page, completely rip it off. And whether you want to use 3 tiers or 1 tier or 2 tiers, I might revise this and recommend 2 tiers. I found that support plans work better with just 2 tiers. This is what you can do. And you can just, as far as scope, this is kind of a fallback plan. It does not include an hour of time that you offer. These 2 are for your standard main plan. And then for more advanced sites, you could have a little more premium support plan. But once you get above a few $100 a month, you're entering growth plan territory. So yeah, that's how I would do it. So just take that page. There you go, Howard. Take that page, and that's literally how I sold my maintenance plan and got over 75 clients on that. Lilia says, where do you host the community? Circle. So I think you may have jumped on a little bit later. Circle is what I use to host the community. And I absolutely love Circle. No, I do not use WordPress for Pro. Yep. Earlier I said, if you had told Josh 5 years ago, you're not going to use WordPress for your community, I'd be like, what? There's no way. But yeah, it's all on Circle. Awesome, Howard. Glad to hear that helped. Yeah, says Lilia. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, Circle. I actually have a few videos on Circle if you guys are curious about using that for communities or memberships for clients or your own. Yep. Oh, thank you, Mike. OG member here. Yep, Mike was an OG member, founding member, game-changing, life-changing. Can't say enough about Josh in the group. Oh, thank you, Mike. I really appreciate that, man. Happy to have you back when you're ready. Let me know. Always love your updates, Mike. So keep me posted on how things are going, and we'll see you back when you're ready to rock and roll. Alexia said, love this chat. Appreciate all the YouTube talk, pumping me up to start it soon. Here we go, Alexia. Follow up with me on Pro, and then we'll talk about that. All right, everybody. And the final question I said to Derek, what is for lunch? He wanted to know. We're about to zip out. My wife is hosting a bridal shower for her future sister-in-law this weekend. So this is one of the last things I'm doing this week. Going to give her time today and tomorrow to do some cleaning and get stuff going, because that is her work right now. So we're going to go grab lunch and do some errands. And I think we're going to pick up some stuff from stores. So that's what I'm doing. Good to see everybody. Again, last reminder, here is your, here is your code to get 50% off Web Designer Pro coaching, the community or courses level. It does not work on the coaching level. We are about at capacity there. So that's going to be moving to a wait list. So there you go. There it is. 1 month, 50% off, 50. All courses at your disposal, community, and myself. That's where I hang out every day. I'm there all day. I'll see you there. Good to see you, Jeremy. Awesome, guys. Great session. Thanks for joining, Jeff. Thanks for joining, Lilia. Thanks for joining, Derek. As always, great stuff, guys. All right, everybody, have an awesome rest of the week, and I'll talk to you here soon.